Welcome to Winder Works, the official podcast of the City of Winder. Join us today as we go behind the scenes to learn from the people, projects, and progress shaping our community. Now, let's get ready to dive into the initiatives that make Winder a great place to live, work, and visit. Welcome, everyone, to this month's edition of the Winder Works podcast. We're all in for a very special treat today. We have our Fire Chief, Matt Whiting, as our guest today. Welcome, Chief Whiting.
Good morning. I appreciate you having me here today.
Great having you. So, Chief, thanks for being here. And before we kind of get into your 30-plus year career with the Winder Fire Department, I think everybody wants to know, who is Matt Whiting? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, how you came to Winder, and maybe what you did before your fire department career here?
I was born in Winder, so I'm a local.
Okay.
I was born and raised, went to high school at Winder Barrow. Went off to college for a little while and had an opportunity to take a part-time job with the fire department when I was 20 years old. Had no intentions of becoming a full-time firefighter. It was just some extra money on the weekends while I finished college, and I actually fell in love with the profession and accepted a full-time position. So I didn't have a lot of life between high school and starting my career. I did go back after I started the fire department and go back and complete my degree in fire science, since I'd already completed 2 years of college. I've been in Winder, my whole life. I've been with the fire department now 33 years, and it's hard to believe it's gone by that fast.
So for everybody that, obviously you can't see Chief Whiting just listening to the podcast, you said you've been here 33 years.
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
I'm 54.
So that means you would have started when you were how old?
Right before I turned 21. I was 20 years and just a few months before my 21st birthday. So
that's impressive. That's people don't stay places that long, and much less in a public safety role. So I think that you're definitely a unique individual in that regard, in the best of ways. So what's something that, before we get into the great stuff, and I'm sure you've got plenty of stories and things to share about the fire department, but what's one thing people would be surprised to know about you?
To know about me? I don't know. There's not a lot of secrets.
Is that good or bad?
I hope it's good. I enjoy coming to work. I enjoy playing golf. I attend church with my family. I don't have a lot of surprises, I don't think. I'm a pretty plain, boring guy, I would say.
Well, that's not a bad thing. So let's kind of go back for something you just said. You said that you didn't really plan on making this a career.
No, that was not.
What ignited your passion? At what moment, if you can remember, that you said, this is what I want to do?
I remember just started running calls and just the excitement of being at the station and responding to calls. It gets in your blood, and decided this was the route I wanted to go, even though it didn't really make sense at the time. That's what I decided I wanted to try this. And 33 years later, here I am, still here.
How many people worked in the fire department in Winder when you first started?
When I started, there were 6 full-time firefighters. There was 2 per shift, and then we carried about 25 to 30 part-time firefighters that would come in if there was a call, or they were. But as far as paid firefighters, there were 6 paid firefighters, a paid fire chief, and an administrative assistant. So we had a total of 8 paid employees.
How many do we have now?
We have currently we have 42 paid. We carry around 6 part-time.
So you've kind of flipped those numbers.
We have flipped the numbers. It's changed a lot in the last few years.
So with that change and what you see, was there one defining moment that just made you know, like, hey, I made the right choice. My passion didn't misguide me as to what I wanted to do or where I am?
No, I don't think so. I think after we started, Chief Madison was here, and he told me, he said, if you'll give me 3 years, I'll make this a good place to work. As far as pay and being competitive, and the city did a lot of great strides to make the fire department competitive. And I started at a young age and had the opportunity to promote early. It made it worthwhile. So I don't think I've ever looked back thinking it was a mistake. I think there's been days
that's a good thing.
You've had days where you're like, why did I get into this? But for the majority of the time, it's been great.
That's good. And so being that you've been here for 30 years, you've not always had the knowledge you've had now. I mean, we all learn as we grow. Did you have any mentor or somebody that kind of guided you through the career path as you were coming up, or was it just, sometimes it's the school of hard knocks? So did you have to do that?
It's a little bit of both. Like I said, Chief Madison was a mentor. I had several older firefighters that were on the department because I was so young that I watched and learned from. And a lot of it is hard knocks. There's no way to prepare yourself to be a fire chief until you jump in the deep end of the pool and you have to figure some things out. And it takes a few years, and and it's still an ongoing process. But yeah, it's a little bit of both. I mean, you have to look at some of the guys that's been doing the job, and then some of it you have to figure out on your own. And it's a process.
Definitely understand that. So, as you just mentioned, you're the fire chief now, and how long have you been the fire chief?
I've been July was 14 years. I'm working on my 15th year as fire chief.
All right. So your style has probably evolved as the times have evolved, as the needs have changed, and things happen. How would you describe yourself as a leader? How would your guys describe you? Your team describe you?
Well, one thing I feel, and I hope they would feel this way. My philosophy has always been, hire and promote good people and let them do their job. I try to delegate. Of course, I'm watching and I'm making sure everything is up to the standard. But I try to delegate, and we have a lot of great people at the fire department, and they have a lot of expertise and a lot of knowledge. And my job is to let them do their job and assist them with what they need. And then if I need to, I'll put the bumper rails up on the bowling alley and kind of rein them in, but that's very rare.
So you've been here for more than 30 years, and that's more than half your life you have spent dedicated to serving others.
Yes, sir.
The changes you've seen, what stands out the most from day one until now? What stands out to you the most in that time?
Probably just the growth of Winder. To see, traffic's always been a little bit of an issue, but the traffic, the growth, a lot of people moving in, which is good and bad. It allows us to grow, but it also creates other obstacles. It's just slowly grown to the point that I guess if you hear it every day, you don't really recognize it as much. But if I could go back and look at the way the city was 33 years ago, it would be a shock. Okay.
So how have those changes kind of, I guess, lack of a better term, how have they morphed into how the fire department operates over time? Because the needs become different, so you have to shift your focus.
Of course, we've had to adapt to the needs of the community. One thing is the medical calls. We run a lot of medical calls. Last year we were around 2,900 calls, and probably 2,400 of those calls were medical. So we have added an additional rescue truck. We've made the department EMT across the board just to get firefighters on the scene quickly to handle these medical situations. So the medical call volume has went up tremendously in the career, and that's one area that we've had to adapt.
So let's talk about that a little bit. You said the department is now EMT across the board. How does that benefit me as a resident, knowing that our fire department is there?
We have the ambulance service is provided by Northeast Georgia through Bear County. So we have an ambulance typically that gets on the scene pretty quick in the city now. But our guys are able to get on the scene within just a few minutes, go ahead and secure the situation, start the process as the med unit pulls up. Just having that extra knowledge, just that 2 or 3 minutes before they arrive, is crucial.
I'm sure you guys get calls that you probably don't need to get the calls for, but it's just somebody being overly cautious.
Right.
As a resident, what would you want to pass along to them that maybe that they could help you all with in that critical time?
That's a tough call because you don't know the situation of every call until we get there. I would say if you think you need the fire department, call for us. Please call. We do have a lot of calls that probably could be handled in the urgent care, but without knowing the situation of the call, we don't want to tell anybody not to call 911. But if you need our assistance, please call.
So after all these years, what still motivates Chief Whiting? What still motivates you to come to work, and where do you want it to go for the next 10 years if you're here that long?
Right now, as you get in the career as long as I have, you still love it, but the flame kind of dwindles a little bit.
No pun intended, right?
But yes, it's the people. We've got some great people at the fire department, and I just love being around them and making sure that they get what they need, and we can do anything we can for them. So to me, it's about the firefighters and the people.
So as the chief, as the department head, the one that kind of runs the ship and makes sure that everything is ready, you guys have a lot of tough days. how do you work with staff, your team, the firefighters, if they have an emotional day? How do you help them? Because not every day is rainbows and butterflies.
We try to communicate after a tough call. If they've seen a death or a child involved, especially, the majority of our officers are trained with critical stress debriefing. We have a chaplain that will call in, that will come in if I feel like we need somebody to meet with him, and we try to communicate with them, especially the young kids that haven't been around this. It's a shock. So when they come back from a traumatic call, we like to sit down and let them talk about it.
Yeah.
And then see if they need any assistance.
So can you pinpoint or give an example of probably one of the tough days you've ever had in the job, and what helped keep you going, motivate, if there was somebody there that was a support system during that?
Oh, wow, that's a good question. There's been a lot of tough days over the career.
I can only imagine.
I've seen things that I wish I hadn't seen, and for me, it goes back to my faith. That helps with that. I think firefighters are bad about just burying it and just trying to be tough and move on. But we try to tell our guys, you respond to situations. The citizens have emergencies, so when we respond, our job is to make the situation better. You didn't cause the problem. You're there to intervene and make the situation better. That citizen's probably having the worst day of their life, and this may be the only interaction they have with the fire department. So our job is to come in, be calm, and bring calmness to the situation. And at the end of the day, know that you didn't cause the situation, but it's your job to intervene and make that a better situation. And, and it's tough because, like you'll second guess decisions you made or the way things go, but that's a tough part. That's a really tough part of the fire department. We've seen in the fire service, luckily not here, and fortunately I hope we don't see this, suicide is very high in the fire service right now. And a lot of that is from stress from calls and carrying that weight with you. But the fire service is seeing a lot of suicide nationwide.
I'm glad that the public can hear you kind of say that you all address it, and you try not to make them hide that, and that's valuable. Now I know we just kind of went down a darker hole there than we wanted to, but I appreciate the honesty. Now tell me about the funniest thing you can ever remember happening, whether on a call or at the station. I'll be honest, if people have listened to the podcast, they've heard about muskrats, they've heard about crack houses.
Okay.
So you're not going to be the first one to share a funny story that involves somebody else.
The funniest story, and it wasn't funny at the time, but now it's hard to believe. When I was on shift, it was a few years, I was a shift captain. We had a call right after midnight. We responded to a structure fire not far from the station. So we arrived within 2 minutes and got out of the truck. And I knew what I was doing, but I was still kind of half asleep. We stretched a line up the driveway, and it was an outbuilding on fire. And the homeowner come running out and said, "I've got pets inside." So we're thinking, oh man, he's got a dog, he's got a cat, he may have birds or something. When we opened the door, this is no joke, about a 4.5 or 5 foot alligator come out the door and started swirling at the base of the steps. And at the moment, I wasn't sure if I was dreaming or if I was actually there, because we'd only been awake for like 2 or 3 minutes, and my mind couldn't tell if this was reality or not. So after a few seconds, I asked, "What else is in the building?" He said, "Well, I've got about 50 pit vipers."
I'm sorry, come again?
Pit vipers. He had...
like the venomous snake?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So at that point, I said, "Time out. I'm sorry, we're not entering." This building was probably 12 by 12. And it was on fire, and I'm like, we are not going in this building. We've already encountered a alligator, a tortoise come out smoking, and he said there were pit vipers in there. So we backed out and attacked the fire from the outside. And actually, a majority of the snakes live. They were in aquariums. And
I'm sorry, they lived?
Yes. We didn't get them out. We made him get them out later, but that was probably the strangest call I've ever ran. I never thought in my career in Winder that I would have to encounter an alligator on a house fire. So
and that was the least dangerous thing outside of the tortoise that you probably encountered at that point.
I would take that over. Yeah. So once we heard about the snakes, we had to say, no, this is not a situation that we're going to put our guys in.
I have to ask, of course, there's curiosity here. Was he allowed to have that many snakes?
No, he was not. He was not. We called the police
thinking.
Department and animal control out, and He's not allowed to have that in the city limits. So
That's
that was
what I was
cleaned up
assuming.
afterwards. Yeah, he was selling exotic animals, and we had no idea about that. So we thought we were entering a storage building that might have a dog in it or something.
And so that's a great story. When somebody calls you guys or gets to a call, how important is it for them to be as upfront about whatever's in there at that time?
Well,
whether legal or not.
The biggest piece of information we're looking for when we pull up on a fire, we want to know, is everybody out of the house and are they accounted for? Because that is going to determine our next move. When we pull up, we're looking at fire control, but our first priority is search and rescue. So when we pull up, if the homeowner or the occupant can be out front and let us know that everybody is out of the house or everybody is not out of the house, that's vital information that determines our next course of action. So if there's something that we need to know about that may be a danger to the firefighter,
like 50 pit vipers,
yes, vipers, or any kind of explosive, propane tanks, or anything that you may have in the house is good to know. But the first question our captains are going to ask is, everybody out? That's what we want to know. And if there's any other information we can get, that would be great too. So.
Absolutely. So over the last 4 decades, however you want to look at that, how has technology impacted what you guys do every day?
Technology has changed the game. We have. And I tell people the equipment has changed so much, but the biggest piece of technology that I feel that's changed the fire service is the thermal imaging camera. When we used to do searches, we had to go into a house, because when a house is on fire, it's not like TV. You can't see. It's dark smoke. When I was on shift, you had to search by feel. So we would get on the wall and swing your arms and hands around furniture and under beds. And we still do that to an extent, but with the cameras, you crawl into the room, you can scan the room. It shows us body heat, if there's an outline of a body. It shows us heat signatures, if there's fire in the wall, fire in the closet, fire wherever. So the thermal imaging camera, to me, is the biggest piece of technology that's changed. The fire trucks have the computer-aided dispatch, which is a computer tab within the fire trucks that have all the dispatch notes. So once our guys get in the truck, it not only has a map of where they're going, hydrant locations, any notes that the dispatcher has put in, or any notes that our guys have put in from a previous call. So if we say, hey, it's got a dog in the backyard, or it's got a basement, it's just information that we have that our guys are reading. And on top of that, we have our pre-plans on the computer too, so the officer in the truck can go ahead and start scrolling through the pre-plan. So when our fire marshal and fire inspector go out and do a pre-plan, they automatically put a drawing and notes that go into our CAD. So our officers are reading on the commercial buildings. They're getting to see where the elevator is, where the fire department connection is, where the hydrant is, where the gas meter is, if there's any dangers in the building, if there's anything they need to know. So we're getting a lot of valuable information up front that we used to have to get on the scene and gather for a few minutes. And
that's critical. How is there a time that stands out where that thermal imaging camera helped out more so than another time? Or have y'all been fortunate thus
We've
far?
been fortunate in the city. We haven't had a lot of fatalities where we've had to search. We've had several in my career, but not many lately. The biggest thing with the camera now is, when we used to go into a fire, we'd put the fire out, and then we would have to rip half the ceiling open and half the walls open to make sure there was no hidden fire in the voids or in the insulation. And we still do that to an extent, but with the cameras, we can locate the fire and get heat signatures, so we don't have to do as much damage to a home. We can isolate it to a 3 or 4 feet area instead of having to pull out a lot of sheetrock. So that's helped as far as time and damage.
I'm sure the homeowners appreciate that too, more than they realize.
The homeowners and the insurance company appreciates that too.
So a big part of being a firefighter is you guys do a lot of community engagement. You guys try to do a lot of education, from your elementary school kids all the way up to seniors. How do you guys approach that, and what is your favorite part of doing that?
Oh yeah, we stress that. We try to get as much information out as we can. We encourage people to come by the fire station for tours. if anybody in the city limits calls as far as a daycare or school or business asking for fire safety classes, we make it happen. If a citizen comes by and has questions, our guys know to stop what they're doing and to give that tour and give that information. We try to be very involved in the public.
Good. I know you guys do something really neat for Camp Twin Lakes every summer.
Yes.
Can you tell everybody what y'all do?
Yeah.
And I'm saying it with a smile if anybody can hear
we
it.
do a lot of things for the burn camp. One thing we do is we're very active in the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation. So we host a golf tournament every year that raises a little over $20,000, kind of on average. Some years a little more, some years a little less. 100% of that money goes to the Georgia Firefighters Burn Foundation, and that money goes to fund the burn camps and surgeries for burn victims in Georgia. We're fortunate that the burn camp is actually held in Winder at Fort Yargo State Park, and we've teamed up with them to help in several areas. But one thing we do with Twin Lakes is every camp they have camps from May through August, September. Every Wednesday we send a fire truck out and we spray the kids with water, and they love that. So. And the kids enjoy it too. I'm just.
I can. And it's such a popular thing. We will have
so we started doing that
July.
about 2 or 3 years ago, and it's become a big hit. So every Wednesday, we send a fire truck out to the camp, spray the kids. Everybody enjoys it, including the firefighters enjoy that. So.
I've heard nothing but good things about that, and you can see pictures and just see how that interaction works.
Right.
And it's one of those things where you never want to call the fire department, but I think people seeing that know if they do have to make that 911 call that you guys are there and that
Yes.
you guys have interacted with them. So what is a challenge that you see coming to the fire service in the next 5-10 years that you can kind of see on the horizon right now?
The biggest challenge, I was talking to Chief Skinner with Bear County the other day. We were talking about some stuff. What I see coming, the next big challenge to the fire service is going to be battery fires. Battery cars, batteries in houses, batteries in tools. But the battery cars right now is a challenge for the fire service. They're very difficult to extinguish.
Is that because they're kind of like their own internal accelerant at that point?
They are. The issue is, batteries are wrapped in plastic. They're under the car. Some cars have 20 to 40 batteries depending on the model. It's accessing the battery. You can't get, water sometimes accelerates the fire. A lot of departments are looking at containers so they can submerge the cars in water for weeks. Battery cars, there's some towing companies that won't tow a battery car. So if a battery car catches on fire, you're very limited. I mean, we have foam. We're in the process of ordering a fire blanket, which will help somewhat. But car fires have been known to ignite 5 days after they were extinguished. And
You're kidding me.
Yes, and we've had some fires, fortunately not car fires yet, but it's coming. We've had some structure fires where it come from batteries charging in a carport from a tool or a riding toy. So in my opinion, the next big obstacle in the fire service is going to be how do you handle battery fires, because everybody's moving towards batteries.
I would not have thought that, but that makes a lot of sense as the electric car industry is taking off, and Georgia is now
Yes.
probably the #1 state for getting these things produced and off the assembly lines. Okay. There's many causes of house fires, structure fires. What's one thing you would encourage people to do that can be, very preventative?
Yeah, there's several things, the top reasons for fires nationwide, but what we see in Winder is probably number one is probably unattended cooking. So if you're cooking, stay in the kitchen. Don't walk off and say, I'll come back in a few minutes later. Lightning strikes is another big area that we see. So we encourage smoke detectors in your house. There's a belief that if your house catches on fire, you're going to wake up. Well, you might not. So we encourage smoke detectors. If your house gets struck by lightning, especially your attic, you may not even know it until it's too late. So we encourage smoke detectors. Kitchens, if you're cooking, stay in the kitchen. Have a fire extinguisher near the kitchen. Drop cords. This time of year with Christmas, we ask people, if you're going to have a live tree, Keep plenty of water in the tree. Don't let the tree dry out. Drop cords and space heaters. Be careful with space heaters, electric blankets. There's nothing wrong with that, but just be careful.
Don't fall asleep with them on. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be better if you turn them off, but I'm not going to say electric blankets are bad. It's just how you power them. If you got a drop cord or they get kinked or stuff like that. So we encourage drop cords not to be used. They're only temporary wiring. Just don't keep them on all night.
So with the popularity of some of these TV shows, such as I think Fire Country and this, I think 911 Nashville or something just came out, and stuff coming out like that, what is one misconception that those shows probably show you that people would probably expect of a fire department, but that's not how things actually work?
Well, I never really watched those shows, so I don't really know how to answer that. I would think it's probably not as exciting all the time. We do a lot of maintenance, cleaning, preparing. Our guys train a couple hours a day. Call volume, in the city of Winder is probably anywhere from 6 to 12 calls a day.
Okay.
So there is some downtime. Fires aren't exactly the way they look on TV. If you filmed a real fire, you couldn't see anything inside, so they really can't do it that way. So, from the shows I've seen in the past, I haven't watched shows lately, but I would say it's probably a little more, it's a lot of cleaning and maintenance that people don't see. That's it's not the excitement.
You don't have all the sexy stuff, as they say.
It's not exciting all the time. There's times in the day where we're busy, and it's it's a lot of standby and waiting and being prepared. So
like the hurry up and wait. But and I think that's critical. I think that's what a lot of people probably don't see, is that even though you're not doing anything, at the blink of an eye, you can have all hands on deck to have something happen.
And while you're here, the police like to pick at us about sleeping because we have bunks. But when you're on shift, you don't really rest. You rest a little, but you're always on edge, expecting to go out the door any second. So our guys have to take some time to rest for a minute, because a 24-hour shift is a long time, and we want them prepared. So,
all right. So if resources were not an issue, if your boss said you have all the money in the world, go make the best fire department you can, what's the first thing you would do?
In Winder, if I could do it on the Winder scale, I'd say we'd add a station, add a new training center, and of course pay the firefighters as much as we possibly could, because I think
I was waiting on that one, but yeah,
I think they deserve everything that they get and more. If that was an issue, if money was not an issue, which unfortunately it is, that would be my thing. Would be the pay, increase stations, and increase our training facility.
Are you having any issue staffing right now, or do you think that you've kind of been able to get stay ahead of that?
We've been fortunate. We're fully staffed. We haven't added staffing just because of budgetary reasons, but as far as what we're allotted, we're fully staffed. We've been fortunate. It's getting harder in the fire service and in public safety in general. I don't think as many young people want to get into public safety as they used to. I don't know why that is, but we've been fortunate. We've always found good people to fill the position. So yeah, we're fortunate to be fully staffed at the moment.
So what does Matt Whiting do? What did you do to keep yourself alert and prepared, but also balance it to not be exhausted? If you were working a 24-hour shift, an hour 20 where you may get the call at that point, because you don't ever get it the first hour you're on shift. We know it never happens that easy.
Well, basically on a shift day, our guys get to work a little before 8 o'clock. We call 8 to 5 the business hours. That's when we are, we're training, we're cleaning, we're doing public relations. After 5 o'clock, it's kind of their downtime, unless we have something scheduled, for them to go do a tour or something. But from 5 till around 10 o'clock, that's their downtime. That's when they cook, work out, just kind of stand by. And we encourage them to take that time. And then we encourage them to try to get into bed by 10 o'clock, because they need a few hours sleep. We encourage our guys to be in shape. I think physical fitness is key to longevity in the fire service. And so both stations have fitness centers in them. Our guys are very active as far as working out. So we encourage that. I think that helps. And I tell guys, their time off is their time off. But I tell them, the physical part is exhausting, but the mental part is where you start to tire.
Right.
So we try to encourage these young guys and the older guys too, because firefighters are going to work a part-time job. It don't matter if you pay them, however much you pay them, they're going to go try to make a little more somewhere else. We try to tell them, hey, go do something outside the fire service. Go cut grass, go build a deck don't go ride an ambulance or work for another fire department. And sometimes they do because they need the money, but I think it's important to get away and do something totally different to reset your mind. That 48 hours off is more for your mind as much as it is for your body. The fire service is a marathon, it's not a sprint. If you want to work here 30 years, pace yourself, work your 24-hour shift, take care of your body, take care of your mind, and enjoy your time off. Spend time with family. That's critical. And spend time with family. That's very important.
So what do you do in your time off?
Well, I enjoy working out, and I enjoy playing golf. And I enjoy spending time with my family at home. Okay. My oldest son is home for a few more weeks. He just took a job and is about to move away. So
is he going to be a firefighter?
No, he's an engineer. So he just got his degree in engineering, so he's about to start that. And so me and him go work out at night, and I enjoy that for now. But no, I don't really. I get home, and my wife has a job where she supervises and manages people. So when we get home, we really don't want to be around people too much or make decisions.
I respect that.
I know that sounds bad, but we like to get home and just eat supper and relax and not make decisions and not have to solve problems.
you may have the same conversations I have at my house.
And I know
you don't want to. You make decisions all day long and picking out where to go eat supper. Where you're going to eat. You don't want to do it. Sometimes we just want to go home and just chill out and just clear out the mind.
Not looking for something to do. That's right.
So, as you consider what may be next for you in your career, or maybe next after 30 plus years here in Winder, what legacy do you want to leave?
I don't know. I'm not looking to have my name on a building or a plaque or anything. I just want people to feel like I cared about the firefighters, I cared about the community, and we did things to make Winder better and to take care of the citizens. I'm not really looking for any kind of legacy, I don't think.
I respect that, and I think everybody that knows you would expect that answer. What advice would you give up-and-coming firefighters, the next generation of the tireless public servant that is required to be a firefighter?
Yeah, that's a good question. One, I still feel it's the best job in the world. I think it's, but I tell people it's not a job, it's a calling. It's something that you need to feel like you need to do, because you're not going to get rich being a firefighter, but you're going to love coming to work. You're going to be fulfilled by helping people. And I would tell guys, take care of your body, take care of your mental side. Spend time with your family. Don't overwork yourself. I think spending time with your family and taking some downtime on your days off is crucial to longevity in the fire service.
You all do something very special at Christmas time around the holidays every year. What do you want to get out and let the public know about what you all do?
One of the things that we do at the Winder Fire Department that I'm the most proud of is our empty stocking drive. This started in the early 90s, and it has grown every year. Last year, I believe the number was 698 kids that we provided Christmas to. Joan Matthews, our administrative assistant, has headed this up and has done a wonderful job. We go around to subdivisions. We have a lot of donors, a lot of locals that donate time and money for us to buy gifts. And it's one of the things I'm the most proud of. So we aim to help local citizens that need help at Christmas, and it's grown every year. It's gotten to the point it's almost taken over the fire department in December. We have toys all through the station, and it's a good problem to have, but we have, so in fact, they've already started on it. We set the toy room up last Friday, and we have people in there right now working to get everything started. So
that's great. And if somebody wants to donate or to help, how do they do that?
They can stop by Winder Station 1 or Winder headquarters, or call our main number and ask for Joan Matthews or myself, and we can give you some information on that. And we will be going out. We've put flyers out the other day. We'll be in 9 subdivisions in Winder on Saturday, December the 6th. So if you're bringing toys, we're planning on distributing the toys on the 12th of December. So We'll take toys after for next year, but if you would like to bring toys, it would be nice to get them before the 12th so we can get them out.
Wrapped or unwrapped?
Unwrapped.
Unwrapped. Okay,
Unwrapped,
that's what
new toys.
Unwrapped people. Y'all heard that. Well, Chief, before we wrap up here, is there one thing or anything that you want to share with the public that they may not know about you, or one piece of advice as we wrap up? Open forum, whatever you want to share.
Lord. No, I don't think there's anything. If they ever need anything from me, my door is always open. They can email me, come by and visit. Our stations are open, between
8 and 5, apparently.
Between 8 to 10, 8 to 10. We ask people not to ask for a tour at midnight if they can.
That's funny.
But if you need something at the fire department, a medical, if you're having a medical emergency, or you're driving by and you need assistance, please stop anytime. We have door buzzers. Our guys will help you out. If you want to tour the fire station, please come by between hours of 8 and say 9 o'clock at night or so. And our guys will be more than welcome, more than happy to give you a tour. If you ever have any questions about the fire service, my door is always open. You can email me or call me, and I'd be glad to get back with you.
All right. Well, sounds good. Chief, it's been an honor having you today. I really enjoyed the stories, from thermal cameras to understanding batteries in cars to being shocked by 50 pit vipers.
Yes.
In a burning building that would not have done that. And, I'm sure I speak for everyone listening and everyone that works at the city. We thank you for what you've done and sharing your story with us today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. And that's it for this month's edition of the Winder Works podcast. I'm Jonathan Lynn, the city administrator for Winder, and we thank Chief Matt Whiting for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to Winder Works. We hope you enjoyed the show today. Stay informed by following the City of Winder on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And make sure to visit www.cityofwinder.com to learn more about Winder, the City of Opportunity.